west coast of Vancouver Island. And we're just stopping to have a break. Caught some halibut. I'll show you some of the clips here. We caught a big halibut, I don't know what it was, 70 pounds or something. And we're surrounded by whales, humpback whales and gray whales. I'll videotape those, I'll show you them here. I'll show you a bunch of these sites right now. And then we videotape is major rutting season for bears right now. And I go get photographs of this absolute monster bear yesterday. Check him out here. He's following this huge sow. She's actually a pretty big bear. He was following her around. You can see right here. And they laid down on the beach and posed down for us. These are some pretty good shots. The next day we went out and we got this great big halibut right here. And that was pretty exciting. Sarah caught that. And then we went into shore and we were literally surrounded by all these whales. For about an hour, so we videotaped them. And then we came in shore again, just looking at black things moving on the beach as usual, because we're in the middle of nowhere. And sure enough, there is frickin' bears all over the place. I'm looking at a whale reaching right out in front of me right now as I'm talking. Then I videotaped up all these whales all around us, calf gray whales and their cow, and humpback whales farther out. It's pretty exciting. So now we're in this little sheltered cove, and there's actually a couple of bears back in behind me here. They might come in out of the scene, who knows? We'll see. But I'm going to read a couple stories for everybody right now. There's so many. It's just so many. I don't know where to start, but here's one. It's just random out of my notes. You ready? Listen to this one. And as I'm reading, maybe I'll play some of the scenes that we've been videotaping as we go. Listen to this one, you guys. This is interesting. Good day, Mr. Steve. My name is Dan. I'm writing you today because honestly, you feel like a safe place where I can rip through the crazy-ass situations I've had in the woods of Pennsylvania. I currently live in North Carolina. I'm a former United States Marine, and I now currently work for the Department of Defense. That's why I'm only using my first name. I want to maintain my security clearance, and they frown on behavior such as participating in this subject, which they consider nonsense. They are either so ruthless when attacking someone who's obviously having a hard time with the situation they experienced. While I was in my Marine Corps, I've seen some of the most horrific things that humans are capable of. I also saw some of the horrific things I was capable of. Steve, I have seen monsters, pure evil, wearing a human body. These people have absolutely no respect or feelings when it comes to hurting, or worse, the people who don't agree with them. I did some terrible things to the monsters that just wanted nothing more than hurt people. I still wrestle with the horrible things I did to fight terrorism. I still, to this day, 17 years later, have nightmares of those I hurt or dispatched to the next level of their belief. Anyway, the first time I had an experience when I was 15 years old. I used to ride dirt bikes and four-wheelers every minute I could when I wasn't working or in high school. I love riding. I love being in the woods. In 1995, it was December, and I was on my way home from riding with the fellas and ladies. My buddy Sean and his girlfriend, Steve and his girlfriend, myself and my girlfriend. We were all riding through the woods, hauling ass home. Where I'm from in Pennsylvania, there are very high hills in the Allegheny National Forest. Most people who are not from there refer to the hills as mountains, but we always call them hills. We were atop of a hill which was heading down one side. You would end up in the state park, and the other hillside led us to Bradford, Pennsylvania. The town, not the county. The city of Bradford is located in McCain County. We were sailing down the hill to get home. About 2 miles before we'd separate to get to our homes, we're moving through an area really thick with hemlocks. I was probably doing maybe 5 or 6 miles an hour because the view was so pristine and beautiful, bottom line. No other way to put it. It was absolutely beautiful. With all the snow pressing down to the branches and hemlocks, it looked like a postcard from Hallmark with the title of Christmas Morning. It was breathtaking. I had to stop and take it in. We didn't have phones or cameras, etc. We took mental photos. So I stopped to get a look and take it in. Steve, I swear to you, this next part is something out of the Twilight Zone. I was sitting on my four-wheeler, putting my hands near the motor to warm them up. I was scanning back and forth as you do, keeping a constant eye on your surroundings. I couldn't hear anything, and it was eerily quiet because of the snow putting out soundproof like a blanket over everything. Once I noticed a little bit of movement behind a hemlock about 30 feet to my right, I put my hand up to stop my friends from talking and pointed towards where I saw the movement, and I said, I think someone's walking out there. I assumed it was a man or a woman, or both. We always seen people out walking or riding while we were out riding. So I put my hand back up and said, hey, how are you guys doing? Just trying to be friendly and let them know we were there. When just as if it was no big deal, this creature took a step up from behind the branch. He was so tall. Oh my God. At this point, I am still assuming it is a man. Now, of course, I'm 30 feet away, and I just couldn't believe how tall this dude was. I thought he was in a gray, full-body Carhartt suit. I yelled to him, hey bud, are you okay? Because this was a four-wheeler trail, barely. It was a really narrow area. I didn't see any tracks in the trail, not walking or any wheelers. He didn't acknowledge us, I think because the wind was blowing out at us, so I think it swallowed my voice, so I yelled again a lot louder this time, and I got a response that made me almost piss myself. This creature turned his head and looked at me, and I couldn't move. I was thinking in my mind, what the F am I looking at? I looked at my buddies, and they had the same reaction. My girlfriend had gotten off the four-wheeler to tighten her boots, and she wasn't watching us, more concerned with her boots, until she looked at me and then at the creature. She started screaming. It ripped through that snow insulation, and I swear it would have broken a window. It finally snapped me out of my stupor, and I started the four-wheeler. She went from like 10 feet away to behind me sitting on the seat in less than 3 seconds. It felt like I stared at this creature for hours, and the whole ordeal was less than 1 to 2 minutes. It was absolutely terrifying. I was so astounded at how big it was. Not just tall, but shoulder width, bust size, and length of its arms. Longer than ours, and the muscle mass of this thing was incredible. You could see the arms were so defined, even with it covered in hair, not fur. His thighs were massive, and you could see the definition in his thighs. He was all muscle. I couldn't really see the hands, but it did move, but it did have that pronounced head at the top, that dome-shaped cranium. Not super pronounced, but there. When it looked at me in a few seconds, I locked eyes with it, and I felt like I was looking at a human. Its eyes were like ours. The brow and the forehead, etc., was more exaggerated than ours, but it was not a monkey or an ape. This creature was alert and aware. Although it scared the absolute shit out of me because I was not at all expecting that, I have to say I felt no threatening feelings. I was intimidated, of course. This is the biggest creature I've ever seen, and he looked like a human. But at no time did I feel scared for my life. I'm starting to tear up just thinking about this. I didn't get any feeling of harm, however, when my girlfriend started screaming, all hell broke loose. That's when everyone lost their minds. I've mentioned a few times when I thought I was in good company and I promptly was ridiculed and told I was drunk or high, etc. It's like you said, no weed or drink is going to make me see something like that. More than anything, I could not believe first the size of this thing, and second, how much he looked like a man. His face was so much like ours are. It was a lot like the drawing you showed. It was an absolutely beautiful specimen. This is the third time I've told this story, and I'm only telling it because you're a character. I'm only telling it because of your character, and I see that you're much more evolved than most, and there is no judgment or sarcasm, just understanding and knowing that you're not alone. You have given us understanding, peace of mind, and a safe place to vent. Thank you so much for listening, and I will email you again with the other story, which happened 4 years later. It's almost like when you have had an experience with these creatures, it's more likely it's going to happen again. Truth is stranger than fiction. Thanks again, brother. Please keep this going. You have no idea how much I appreciate your sentiment and kindness without the judgment and sarcasm. Ooh-wee. How is that for a group sighting experience and from an absolute credible person who I thank myself and many other people thank you for going overseas and laying down your ass to protect the world from those dirty bastard terrorists. And that takes more bravery than I can't imagine the bravery it takes to do just that alone, right? And then shame on every single frickin' douchebag out there who actually looks you in the eye and belittles you for sharing what you had experienced in those mountains without asking for it. That's bullshit. Whatever, we're past all those people now, and And our crew of people here is so vast and so huge and large. It's such a massive group of people who get it, and we're all here to understand and give each other support, right? And from this email that I just read, I want every single one of you who is listening to this, watching this, to take note that this thing that he saw was not a monkey, it was not an ape, it wasn't a gorilla, all right? Take note, it had eyes like ours and a face like ours, and that thing looked more like a human. And I want to stress for all of you to take that out of this story and take that note that literally hundreds of people have emailed in and made that note. All right? Don't forget. I'm gonna keep telling you guys. All of those people out there who have held the narrative on this topic for so long, every single one of them is trying to keep you all convinced that these things are a monkey or a gorilla, and they're not. These people are lying. They know about all the additional experiences and details that don't fit the monkey or ape narrative, and they ignore it or suppress it and keep those facts hidden that are shared by these honest people. And for that, I call everyone a douchebag, right? I mean, who wouldn't? Anyways, I've talked about that enough. But that's just another incredible experience, another one that's been experienced by thousands of people already, and hundreds more are going to have that same experience coming up in the future. There's no way out of it. All right, and it's just very, very interesting. And this gentleman, sure caught a lot of the good thorough detail, right? And when you said, sir, when you said only 1 or 2 minutes, on wildlife time, 1 or 2 minutes is like an hour. Okay, like we just had a couple bears behind us. We were hoping to get them in shot here, and we were watching them for. We thought it was a long time. They came out of the shot for maybe 15 seconds tops, and they're gone again. But we got full video of them, full view of them. But if they stood there for 1 or 2 minutes at 30 feet staring at us at 30 yards, it would be an incredible experience, and you're going to take in every single freaking hair follicle for a view, right? But anyway, yeah, there's another one. What do you think of that?